The global music world seemed to reach its lowest note when, at the age of 75, André Rieu, the man who had made the waltz a global phenomenon, collapsed mid-performance. It was an image that struck audiences worldwide with shock. The king of the waltz brought down, not by critics, not by fading fame, but by his own fragile body. To understand how such a fall could happen at the height of his brilliance, we must trace the story of his life, a story built on discipline, rebellion, love, loss, illness, resilience, and ultimately survival. André Rieu was born on October 1, 1949 in Maastricht, the Netherlands. He was the third of 6 children in a household defined not by warmth but by discipline. His father, André Rieu Sr., was a respected conductor, admired in the concert hall but feared within his own home. His baton ruled the stage with precision, and his voice carried the same merciless authority at the dinner table. Laughter was scarce. Love was abstract if it existed at all. His mother, obsessed with grades and social propriety, valued structure above imagination. Creativity was seen not as a gift but as a liability. When a teacher once praised André's artistry, his mother hurled it back at him like an accusation. Young André lived in a home where silence and severity filled the air. Later, he would confess in interviews, "My parents didn't love me." It was not said as a dramatic wound but as a simple fact, as if he had learned to stop expecting affection. Yet at 5 years old, something extraordinary happened. A slender, graceful 18-year-old violin teacher entered his life. She did not scold or demand. She coaxed. She allowed him to feel the music, not just to play it. In the sweep of her bow, young André discovered something he had never known before: freedom. Not love, not romance, but something purer, a tremor of life itself. Other children practiced scales. André chased resonance. But joy came with a price. In his teenage years, his passion for waltzes clashed violently with his father's rigid ideals. His father wanted him to follow the austere path of a conductor. Instead, André was drawn to melodies that breathed joy. One night, after hearing him play, his father snapped, "I didn't raise you to play waltzes." Those words cut deeper than a simple rebuke. They sought to suffocate his spirit. Final break came in 1968. André had fallen in love with Marjorie, a woman as steady as he was lyrical. When he brought her home, his mother met her with fury. "Leave," she ordered. That night, André did just that. He left his family home forever, never looking back. His parents never attended a single concert, even as he grew famous. The silence of their absence followed him through packed arenas and thunderous applause. No ovation could ever fill the void of a childhood without love. Still, music became his lifeline. After years of orchestral training, André found the sterile, formal world of classical music stifling. In 1978, he started the Maastricht Salon Orchestra with 12 fellow dreamers. They played in modest venues, community halls, weddings, border towns. No critics, no fanfare, just music shared for the sake of music itself. Behind the scenes, Marjorie quietly became the foundation of everything. She handled bookings, business meetings, finances, and even ghostwrote arrangements. She was the invisible architect of the future they were building. In 1987, André founded what would become his true revolution, the Johann Strauss Orchestra. It began with just 12 musicians, but the mission was radical: to restore the joy of music to the people. Gone were the solemn black tuxedos. In their place, colorful gowns and laughter. Their premiere in 1988 was electric. Critics mocked them, but audiences surged. They weren't attending concerts. They were reclaiming joy. By the mid-1990s, André was no longer a small-town dreamer. He was a global phenomenon. His legendary performance at the 1995 UEFA Champions League final in Vienna remains iconic. As the orchestra played Shostakovich's Waltz No. 2, football fans stopped chanting, swayed, and clapped. For a few minutes, a stadium became a ballroom. The performance went viral before the internet made viral a thing. His records topped charts for 19 weeks in the Netherlands, then spread across the world. In Australia, he filled stadiums of 38,000 people, outselling rock icons like Pink and AC/DC. By the late 1990s, he had 8 of the top 10 DVDs in the country, all his. But success, as always, carried shadows. In 2010, at the peak of his career, André was struck by a viral infection that attacked his inner ear. For a violinist, balance is everything. The world began to spin violently. Bedridden, dizzy, and helpless, he was forced to cancel tour. Fans were heartbroken. Critics whispered that his career was over. Therapy after therapy failed. Then came a letter from an Australian fan who had survived the same condition. It contained vestibular exercises. Desperate, André followed them. Slowly, painstakingly, he regained balance. He returned to the stage, but he was never the same. The infection had left him permanently vulnerable. In 2016, another blow came, not of illness, but of grief. His dear friend and trombonist, Ruud Merckx, died suddenly in his sleep while on tour. To André, he was more than a colleague, he was like a brother. Shaken to his core, André canceled the rest of the tour. The orchestra grieved as a family. When they returned to performing, the music carried a weight it had never borne before. Then came Mexico City in March 2024. 6 sold-out concerts awaited him. It should have been a triumph. Instead, it became a crisis. After just 2 shows, altitude sickness, jet lag, and flu overwhelmed him. Backstage, feverish and breathless, he called Marjorie, "I don't want a first concert day like this ever again." The tour collapsed in chaos. Over 40,000 tickets were refunded. 125 musicians were sent home. Fans were furious. The dream seemed to crumble. But in that collapse, something shifted. Pierre, his son, stepped forward. Until then, he had been a logistics man, a manager. Now he became his father's shield. No more relentless intercontinental tour. Schedules slowed. Europe-only performances, medical staff on hand, backstage oxygen, rehearsal breaks built around André's health. Pierre enforced rules with the same seriousness his father had once reserved for tempo markings. Hydrate before stage. Limit encore. No handshakes until heart rate stabilizes. These weren't suggestions, they were survival. By summer 2024, André was still performing, but differently. He rearranged set lists, fewer polkas, more waltzes, more intimate ballads. He added stories between pieces, drawing audiences in while conserving energy. Fans embraced the change without realizing it was strategy. Behind the scenes, his performances were tracked like medical operations, with physicians and therapists ready. On stage, Pierre became a constant presence, watching, ready to step in. And yet the magic endured. In Maastricht, during an encore, André called Pierre to the stage. Reluctantly, Pierre joined, singing with the orchestra. The crowd roared, not because the performance was flawless, but because they witnessed something more intimate than any concert. A father and son, bound not just by music, but by survival. And so, André Rieu's story is not simply about the collapse of a maestro. It is about transformation. A man once driven by endurance now lives by care. A father once shaped by the absence of love found it at last in the devotion of his son. And every time the waltz begins, audiences know they are not just hearing music. They are hearing survival.